Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video. I wanted to go back over the things that we went over before that some people didn't seem to really have a good grasp on. So before we start with that, I want to start with a story of this fictional guy. He exists only in my head. His name is lilBuddy, because he's everybody's little buddy. lilBuddy's parents are extremely rich. They are loaded. They are the richest of the rich people in the wealthy side of town. And lilBuddy goes to a high school that's a lot like those ones that you see that only exist in the movies. At least I think they only exist in the movies. I've never seen one like this. But it's the high school where all the poor people live in a certain part of town, and all the rich people live in the other part of town, and all the rich people hate all the poor people, and they talk smack, and they don't get along, and there's like this big divide in the high school where the wealthy people hate the not wealthy people, and the not wealthy people hate them back, and it's like this big crazy thing like you only really see in Hollywood, because Hollywood is weird. Anyway, that's the type of high school that Buddy went to. And Buddy was a really little guy. That's why he's lilBuddy. Really little guy. And he got picked on a lot in elementary school and bullied around. And he decided he hated his fellow rich people, even though his family was the richest of all the rich people. He hated them because the poor people always accepted him and they never made fun of him, and he liked them better. So that's who he hung out with. And he had 7 friends in particular that he was really close to. And lilBuddy liked to do things. He liked to go out to the movies. He likes to play games. He likes to do a lot of different things. And he's got the money. He can pretty much do whatever the heck he wants. His parents aren't around. They don't really care. And he's got his own credit card, and he does anything he wants. And they just pay the bills and move on. So he likes to treat his friends to things because he knows they can't afford it. They couldn't do all the things that he wants to do, and he doesn't want to do them alone. He wants to do them with his friends. So he's not buying friends. He's not doing anything like that. He's just a really cool guy that likes to do a lot of stuff and likes to make sure his friends can do it with him. So that's lilBuddy. I'm going to be using him in examples a lot from now on. lilBuddy. One time, lilBuddy took his friends to the movies. He spent $50 on snacks, and he bought 8 tickets. One for him and his 7 friends. The total he spent was $176. How much was each ticket? Well, we've done this sort of thing before. He spent, don't be doing this to me, $50 on snacks plus 8 tickets, and ended up with $176 as the bill. So we take the 50 away from both sides, and we get $126, 8 tickets equals $126. So how much is each ticket? We'll divide that 8. Divide that 8. And, what do we got? 6 times 8 is 48. So 7, I want something that ends in 6. So it's going to be around 15? $16? I'm going to use a calculator. 126 divided by 8. 1575. All right. So each ticket cost $15.75. All right, this is a pretty straightforward equation, the type of which I think most of you got no problem. So we want to go on and solve systems of equations. An example of this would be, let me erase that. But he took his friends to the movies again. This time it's a different movie theater. He wanted to show his friends, he wanted to try out this new movie theater they'd never been to before. This time he bought 8 popcorns and 8 tickets. So 8 popcorns plus 8 tickets. And he spent a total of $156. So how much was each popcorn and each ticket? Well, if we, and then we, maybe we, no, can't do it. Don't have enough information. Can't do it. Not possible. So we need to have some more information. Well, it turns out Buddy was paying attention for some reason to the family behind him. So it turns out that this family bought 2 popcorns and 4 tickets, and they spent $65. So we want to make it so they either bought the same amount of popcorn or they bought the same amount of tickets as lilBuddy in order to figure out how much is. So we're going to take this, and I like the same amount of tickets because I know if I multiply 4 by 2, it's 8. Right? So I am going to multiply this by 2. 2 times 2 is 4 popcorns plus 8 tickets equals 5 times 2 is 10, 6 times 2 is 12, $130. And we'll just go up here and we'll say, reiterate lilBuddy's 8 popcorns plus 8 tickets equals $156. So now we need to subtract out the tickets because we only want to solve for the popcorn right now. So we're going to subtract out the tickets. So we have 8 minus 4 is 4 popcorns. 8 minus 8 is 0 tickets equals 156 minus 130 would be 26. So now we know that for 4 popcorns they spent $26 on 4 popcorns. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing that we've always been able to do before. Divide out that 4, and 1 popcorn is equal to 6 times 4 is 24, 7 times 4, so $6.50. $6.50. Now we know how much 1 popcorn costs. We want to know how much the tickets cost. In order to do that, we can just go back to one of our original equations and add the popcorn cost in. So if we want to use this one, I'm going to erase this. Popcorn is $6.50. Remember that, $6.50. So if we want to use the family, that was a P. If we want to use the family because they bought less, so it's lower numbers of math, we can say 2 popcorns plus 4 tickets equals 65. And we just figured out that each popcorn is $6.50. So 2 times $6.50 to represent the price of how much they spent total on popcorn, right? So 2 times 6 is 12, add $1 for the 50 cents, and we get $13 that they spent on popcorn. So we're going to subtract that 13 from the 65 to take out the amount of money they spent on popcorn. So 65 minus 13, 5 minus 3 is 2, 6 minus 1 is 52. So their 4 tickets cost $52. Now we want to know how much each ticket cost. So we're going to divide by that 4, divide by that 4, And that ticket, each ticket costs 9 times 4 is 30, 10 times 4 is 40. That's going to be more than 10. 13. I think. Let me use the calculator. Clear that and say 13 times 4, 52. Yes. Boom. So each ticket costs $13. And each popcorn costs $6.50. That is how we solve a system of equations. It's a lot like we did before, but we just need more information, so we have to have a second equation. I'm going to do another example. lilBuddy, he bought one Xbox and 4 games. And he spent $460. How much was the Xbox? How much were the games? Don't know. Not enough information. Excuse me. Not enough information to figure that out. But we also know that lilBuddy decided that he wanted to have an Xbox party. He wanted all his friends to come over and play Xbox with him and hang out and have a good time. So he bought 4 more Xboxes and 2 more games. And he spent a total of $930 buying the Xboxes and games for his party. That's a lot of money. Good thing lilBuddy's parents are rich and they don't pay much attention to him. So how much was each Xbox and how much was each game? In this case, we can tell that one Xbox costs $460 minus the cost of 4 games. What did we do? We subtracted out the 4G from both sides, right? That's mathematically what we did. But just thinking about it, you know that one Xbox is going to cost that $460 minus the cost of those 4 games. So we can rewrite that equation as X equals 460 minus 4G. So we know that that's what one Xbox costs. That's exactly what one Xbox costs. 460 minus the cost of 4 games. So we're going to replace Xbox in this next equation. We're going to say 4, and instead of writing Xbox, we're going to write how much an Xbox costs, which is $460 minus the cost of 4 games. Plus 2 more games is going to give us $930. So 4 times 460, 1840. And then 4 times 4 is 16, minus 16 games, plus the cost of 2 more games is equal to $930. Now here, try not to think too hard about what makes sense because we're going into the negative land. Just remember we're combining like terms. So 1840, 16 games plus negative 16 games plus 2 games is minus 14 games. Now if you think about this, that $840 minus the cost of 14 games equals $930. It makes sense. But when you're going into negative numbers, things often feel weird, right? So we're going to subtract this 1840 from both sides. And we're going to say that negative 14 games is equal to so you end up with negative $910. Now what we would do mathematically is we would divide by negative 14 games on both sides. the negative and the negative would cancel each other out, and you'd end up with a positive number, right? Or you can think about it this way, just to think about in the example what makes sense. If negative 14 games cost negative $910, that means that 14 games cost $910. Then we divide by that 14, because we want to figure out the cost of each game. It turns out that one game cost him $65. So now we know the cost of one game. That was a lot we went through, but now we know the cost of one game, $65. So we're going to go back to the original equation. I'm going to erase all this. Remember, one game costs $65. Erase. I'm going to go game equals 65. All right. And the original thing he did was he bought one Xbox and 4 games for $460. Well, we know that one game costs $65. So we're going to say he bought one Xbox plus 4 times $65 a game, and he spent $460. So 4 times 65, 4 times 5 is 20, 6 times 4 is 24, 25, 26. One Xbox plus $260 is equal to $460. So if we take that $260 away from both sides, in other words, we're taking the cost of the games away from the total, and we end up with one Xbox equals $200. So we got a really super sweet deal on these Xboxes, but not such a good deal on the games. So the games are $65 each, and Xboxes are $200. So those are two different ways of solving a system of equations. I hope that this made it a little bit more understandable and relatable than last time I went over it, for those of you that I just did it like purely mathematically without explaining like why we would do those things and what it would mean. So hopefully this is helpful. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day, and love you. Bye.